Yes, I work at Business Factory.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris. Welcome to the Three Men in a Trench Coat podcast. I'm joined by Gabe and Joseph. How are we doing today?
I'm doing well, Christopher.
I am 2 feet away from shitting my pants. Oh god.
Alright, well.
Let me in.
What?
Alright, I'm glad we got that out of the way. So, how are we today, my lads?
I just got off of switching my work schedule
Mm?
to the morning shift and also way more hours than I'm used to having. I'm going from working 3 hours a week because of school to like 27 hours a week.
That's a jump.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
it's
quite a jump.
it's a little bit of a jump. It's only 9 times more hours, roughly.
That's 9 hours a day per each. uh, uh,
Math.
I haven't been the most lucid today.
No, that's good. It's content.
Uh,
Concerned breathing. Just disregard my last three sentences.
Ah, yes, 7 days in a week,
I've
9 hours a
been
day,
playing.
27 hours total.
So I've been playing a lot of Blood recently.
Blood?
Yes, it's a game. No, I've been dissecting people and playing with their innards,
Okay.
their
Their
juices,
Their juices.
innards, juices, organs.
their
What
slimy
Thought
bits.
juice.
what's
All
your what's your what's your favorite organ?
my favorite organ is the brain because it named itself.
When you poke
I
it, it
agree.
does things.
And when you poke it, the rest of the meat suit also does things. I wonder what part. So if you're doing brain surgery, I wonder what part of the brain you'd have to touch to give the guy a boner.
Why is this at the forefront of your mind currently?
It would be. Well, yeah, I guess.
Because it would be funny.
You can manually, by altering blood pressure and probably just
No, that's stupid
adding
and
more
lame. I
blood,
want to figure
you
out
can
what does it
manually
psychologically.
you can manually give someone a boner.
Like
No, I'm gonna go to brain level.
Like I
brain level, I don't think that's how that works because it's electrical signals and hormones. It's not pressure that causes.
no, I
Well,
was
you
talking
know,
about the blood.
you can mess around with people's brains and you can make them smell like
How,
burnt toast. You
Joe,
tell me I can't make things happen.
Joe, I'm gonna have to explain to you how a boner works. So basically, what happens is in your head,
He's never had one. He has
hormones
to
and
have
other
an
things happen. Electrical signals basically tell your body to send more
Excuse
blood
me.
to your nuts.
Excuse me. Are you implying that I don't know how?
Well, you were confused when I mentioned blood pressure and blood, so.
No, I know.
You
You know
you
what? Next,
seemed.
next topic. I will not be. I will not sit here and be embarrassed.
All
Shut up.
right.
It's funny.
Okay. I have a wheel that I'm going to spin.
Your mom's a wheel.
All right. I'm glad we peak
Does that one
comedy
require
today.
blood pressure too, Chris?
I'm
all
dying.
Gabe's blood pressure is leaving his brain, going straight to his penis.
How did we go?
Anyways,
Yep.
There's a hair in
where I'm
my milk.
spinning the wheel now. Shut up. And we are going to talk about ancient times. So, ancient, right? This is before medieval. This is, you know, this is not during the Roman period. I wanted to specify that. I personally consider Roman to be different. So,
They were like the main event of their time period, pretty much.
yeah, I consider it to be, ancient civilization, which is, Egypt and I almost said Nile River. That was Egypt.
It is
Mesopotamia
contained within Egypt.
and the Incans and Aztecs and the whatnots. I consider that to be ancient. And then you have Roman. And then after Rome, you had medieval, which was basically the Dark Ages up until
The plague.
oh yes, the best part of the medieval Dark Ages was the Black Plague. But anyways, after medieval, I consider it to be Victorian, which is basically post gun when colonization was rampant and shit like that. And then after medieval or after Victorian goes World Wars, and then Cold War, and then modern.
You do know that Victorian and Edwardian periods do go by who was ruler of Britain at the time, right?
Yes, Queen Victoria was an interesting lass.
I was a big fan of white lead.
And cake. She really likes sponge cake.
Napoleon Bonaparte, right? No, wait. Who was... Oh, my brain hurts.
Oh.
Queen Elizabeth.
Hmm?
I don't know. Whoever said let them eat cake, freaking Marilyn Monroe or whoever.
That
Uh,
was the last. Oh, fuck. I
that was
literally just watched a
France.
video. Yeah, it was France, Revolutionary War, King Louis the whatever, fucking 200th,
Like
his
Mary
wife.
Antoinette. Mary Antoinette
Yeah,
is who
Antoinette.
supposedly said that.
She did indeed say that when she was told that they were all starving and poor.
Very funny.
She said, "Let them eat cake." She said it
And then she died.
completely serious too. She didn't know that she was very wrong and not correct. And that is just not how that works. So ancient civilization. Joe, what is one thing you know about ancient civilization? You know about.
No, for 100% certainty.
Yes.
Hmm. I know that a lot of them were at least kind of very interesting to see because they all developed in different ways, blah, blah, blah. Specifically, Egypt, I think, is kind of its own case of
Hmm.
like the river was basically all they had for it, and they thrived off of it.
Yeah, that was all the river valley civilizations. Basically where
Hmm.
the human civilization was built off of, which
And then there's the actual pyramids too of Egypt, which is another thing because then there's conspiracy theories on if those were
ah
truly built by humans. I think they were, because having them say they were built by aliens kind of takes away from the fact that thousands of slaves were used to build it. So,
and Gabe might go for this, but they were actually
getting
not
into conspiracies early this week.
they were not slaves. Slaves did not build the pyramids.
Oh,
They
They
so
were
it
were
would have
respectable
been.
people of society,
yes, they were
I
actually
think.
paid workers, and they got to be buried in catacombs next to the pyramids.
Oh,
The
So
work still sucked, though.
yeah,
yeah.
no, just in
It.
general, it, they there were a lot of theories as to how they did it. Uh, One of the most absurd I think I've seen that I don't know is even physically possible. They used a water elevator system because those stones are fucking massive. Those
Yeah,
stones
the
are
only.
like as long as, people are today, 6 foot. No, I don't even
Oh,
know if
a
that's right.
water elevator system? That kind of seems kind of far out there, yeah,
They
but
they were
I
ahead of their
guess
Minecraft?
it
time, but
might. Minecraft. Yeah, they just put their blocks in their inventory and send it up the water elevator.
Um,
Anyway, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. The only way that that would work is if they had a lot, like a big platform filled with air that just counteracted the sheer weight of the blocks used to build the pyramids. But
that is the
I don't know.
easiest explanation.
so the blocks that they used were on average 1 meter by 2.5 meter. and they weighed
Big.
Of just like sandstone.
6.5 to 10 tons.
And they were moved a really long distance. Like,
Yeah.
they didn't just have them in their backyard. They were... Like, the sandstone from where the pyramids are doesn't line up with the sandstone that is there.
Not only that, but they had to get it up onto the pyramid. So they had to... What is most commonly accepted is basically they used rollers. They would place the stone on like a sheet, and they would put under that sheet like rolly, kind of like almost not, I wouldn't say cardboard, but cardboard tubes, and then it creates that basically
They can just
rolling
use
system, like a bearing system. That just goes the sheet
Yeah.
just rolls right over the tubes.
That's feasible.
That is the most commonly accepted, and that even then they still had to use human power to pull it up. Those that you could see them, I think, even today, that the pyramids do have a sort of like flat staircase that doesn't have any stairs on it, but just like a flat,
A ramp.
ramp up that goes all the way to the top.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people and some good levers and winches and stuff can do a
Yeah.
lot, but I don't know. Maybe it just took a really long time and they just decided to do it.
It was their religion. Religion could push people to do some really strange things.
Religion pushes people to do a lot of strange things, Chris.
Also, can I add, the
Deus
pyramids
Vult.
are not hollow. They are very much.
Oh, that's crazy. Well, I never really thought about it before. It
Yeah,
never really
I
crossed
was
my
thinking
mind that they would even be hollow or completely filled in.
they are
I just
indeed
kind of
completely filled
accepted
in.
that they are.
Yes, because all the catacombs and stuff, that's all underground. So it's underneath the pyramid, which is very strange.
Speaking of pyramids and stuff, mummies and how like tradition was to basically emulsify all the other organs, including the brain, except for the heart
Mm.
for the mummies, which is interesting on how they viewed where the quote unquote soul of the human was.
Yeah, they thought the heart was the most important
They
body
thought the
part,
heart
didn't
was
they?
the control center, but
Mm.
nah, it's the brain, dude. What did they think the brain was? Just like a mushy
Just a
matter
little,
filling in the skull.
yeah, just it's where all the
Goop.
it's just soup up there.
It's just sponge.
That's where the cum is stored.
Kind of unrelated.
Right.
What is like the texture of like the brain? Like what
Tofu.
is it supposed tofu?
Wet tofu. If you
Wet
hold it in your
tofu.
hand, it'll conform to the shape of your hand and leave an indent. Imagine taking a bite out of it. Imagine taking a bite out of a
All
brain.
right, you little creature.
All
Slide
right,
you.
so I regret taking this road. We're gonna backtrack a little bit.
Your pyramids are pyramid shaped.
Speaking of backtracking, imagine stepping on a brain, just having it like get in between your toes.
I like to
It's like
think of it like
goopy.
cartoon. You step on it and then you immediately
It's just
slide like a banana peel. Just woo,
wee.
and then you fall
Ooh.
down and your head cracks open like an egg, and another brain is there, and it just keeps multiplying. Anyways.
Yes. No, I like this train of thought. Let's continue.
And then as time grows, it's just too many brain, and then like the government has to get involved, and they're like, "The fuck do you mean?" And then that happens to them, and they're like, "Oh,
It's a curse.
that's how humanity's gonna fall apart." It's not. Yeah.
Brain slide goop slash the
What?
the reckoning.
Joe, this is a bad part or a bad time if you tuned out for like a second. You have
I
no idea what
really
I'm
did.
talking
I like blinked for like a second and got completely lost in the
We're not gonna
flow of
fill
whatever
you
this
in.
is.
You're gonna have to
All right, that's
rewatch.
probably for the best.
So, Gabe, do you have any known knowledge that we did not mention about ancient civilization?
Maybe anything about like South America, because I don't actually know a whole lot about that, about
I
South American
I
civilization and
I
stuff like that.
Aztecs? Brazil?
I thought. Okay, so
the Aztecs and Incans. Well, the Aztecs were Mexican. The Incans were
You're
South
right.
American.
I
I
thought so.
went and saw the Aztec ruins when I was in Mexico. I was in Mexico for like 3 hours and then we left. And I've never seen so many fucking pineapples in my life. While
apparently, according to Chris, Mexico is pineapples
we
as far as the eye can see.
we were on the bus going to the ruins, and I see a farm and an entire roadside covered in full pineapples, all the way up to this cart, all the stand, and on the roof of the stand there's pineapples, in front of the stand is pineapples, on the ground is pineapple, on the counter is pineapple. The person is holding 2 bags of pineapple juice, and that's all I see. It's just pineapple for, you know, an entire like property is just covered in pineapple. I'm like fucking. We're not gonna stop and stop the bus. The Aztec ruins that are thousands of years old can wait. I need a fucking pineapple.
The acidity probably gets rid of all the stuff in the water. I don't know. The sheer acidity of the pineapples after eating so many will eventually kill some of the bad bacteria.
I don't think pineapples are acidic. I think they're just angry.
They are. Uh, Jules has told me this. I believe they're a carnivore. They are a carnivorous plant because of their acidity. They can actually break down things.
It's
And
not
They can
kill.
break
acidity,
down
it's
like
enzymes and stuff
Yeah,
that'll
enzymes.
dissolve
There you go.
tissue. That's why your tongue feels all rough after eating a pineapple. Because it's
Oh, good
actually
to
eating you.
Yeah.
That's great to know. So now I'm terrified of pineapples.
Pineapples.
It
And I
won't
bet
eat you.
all of you are too.
So you could theoretically soak a body in pineapple juice, and the only thing that'll come out of it is bones devoid of bone marrow.
Well, and all the
I think
juices.
that would.
That would also combine with.
I think
Oh
that would
god,
take a
a sip.
while.
No, Gabe, shut up.
It's a cocktail of
Glug.
pineapple and just goo.
Nice and thick. It's got the consistency of oatmeal.
Wow, we're really
Yeah.
getting into goo today.
This is your joke gag.
Episode 1, we're talking about breaking down bodies. DIY.
Just get a lot of pineapple juice somehow. How long would that even take, though? Because I imagine it'd take quite a while.
Let me Google
Long
it.
time. No, don't
How
Google
long, FBI? Please don't pay attention to this.
No, just do incognito. They can't see that.
I
Mama.
It's for
pretty sure
it's
my
for
eyes peed.
educational purposes. I swear.
The FBI can hear me speaking right now on my mic, so they know I'm just joking. To break down a body in
You could just say, like,
pineapple
meat in general
juice.
to keep it vague.
You see, the thing is, if you like braise a steak in, or no, not braise, baste, no, soak. What's the term for it? Marinade. If you marinate a steak in pineapple juice, it'll get a little gray and disgusting. Because it's like breaking it. It's like cooking it.
This is a
Do you
Reddit
speak from
question.
experience?
Yes.
This is a Reddit question. How much pineapple theoretically would it take to break down a body? The first answer. This is an interesting question. Let's assume yada yada yada. The question is yada yada. I'm a phone. I'm having trouble doing research for the math. And he didn't actually explain anything. Hang on.
Oh, awesome.
Ah, yes, Reddit.
Reddit is my favorite hellhole.
Out of all of the particular hellholes, this one is the most entertaining.
This is an experiment that someone did. Not that the bones is scientific. Oh, they did it in a TV show.
Which?
Uh,
What?
the bonus pineapple experiment.
This sounds like Mythbusters. Something British people would do.
No one is answering.
For good reason.
For good reason, because if someone just reveals that information, they're gonna be like, the FBI is gonna be on their ass.
Would it be
Could be.
possible? Oh, NCIS case file. Pineapple Jack. Body found in bottom of pineapple factory storage tank. He was nothing but a pile of bones.
Oh my god.
Imagine what that smelled like.
Probably like pineapples.
Ah, yes, pineapple with an undertone of people.
And then he just goes on about pineapple facts.
I like pineapple facts. Yay, confetti!
Get to know the 7 health benefits of juicy pineapples. Well, your father's body's breaking down in a pineapple factory. Here's some good tips on how to eat pineapple. Oh, this is strange.
Oh, this is a rabbit hole that we got to from pineapples from Mexico.
Oh yeah. What were you gonna talk about, Gabe?
I don't remember.
Do you have anything about ancient civilization you want to share?
Iraqi Stargates.
Oh, good for fun.
Motherfucker. Not this again.
Well, the audience at home is not aware of what the Iraqi Stargates are because we are not airing that episode.
Gabe proceeds to explain the entire iceberg in 2 minutes straight.
Gabe, did you actually do research this time instead of just saying that it exists?
No, I forgot.
Okay.
Okay.
Who knows? Down the line, we might release that episode. Just a little like, oh, this is what happened before episode 1.
This was
how the
our
nerds
pilot.
figured
was-
it out.
2 hours long. I don't think we can just.
I like feature length.
Feature length dumbasses talking to each other.
Feature.
We didn't really do too much that was actually, funny in that, other than the part where I was asking you guys historical questions, in which
Oh my
I will
God.
do that in the future. There will be bits in the future where I'm asking you historical questions.
No, not
Because it was
again.
so funny,
Stop.
because you guys are so historically
Stop
ignorant.
milking our stupidity for comedy.
It was funny.
Not me.
Oh, I remember I was going to ask you guys, what was the first United States capital?
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Pennsylvania.
That's a state.
Oh wait, somewhere in there.
Philadelphia.
It was. And what was the second U.S. capital?
You lost me.
Dallas.
No. No. It was New York.
Memphis.
It was New York.
Oh, it was New York.
Okay, so imagine for a moment that the other US,
Imagine, if you will, a world where 9 plus 10 does not equal 19.
But in fact, 9 plus 10 equals 21.
Welcome
my God.
to the Twilight Zone.
Fun fact, I've never seen a single episode of The Twilight Zone. I've only seen jokes about it.
We
Oh,
watched
we're watching all of it
we
now.
watched Twilight Zone in one of our what year was it? We watched it in English class.
Oh gosh. Yes, that one time we did.
Was it 8th grade?
It was probably somewhere around 8th grade. Yeah, it wasn't in high school. It was in middle school.
I feel like it was Des Louver.
This louver.
It's Louver. Might have been a mistake.
I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
I remember the
No,
T
no one at home
Rex
knows what we're talking about.
futuristic movie that we watched that was poor CGI. Like it was
I don't
really
remember a
bad.
thing, which is why I said I never watched a single episode. And if I did, I don't remember a single episode.
We watched one on it was like on an airplane. I don't remember anything but that.
Airplane?
And then we watched one where it was a family in a in a new suburban area, and aliens had landed and turned off the power, and
I do remember
they
that one.
they
That's the one that I remember.
I don't know, I don't remember if they were imposters in the
Yeah, it was Among Us.
just
Among Us.
breathing from Gabe's mic.
Yeah, you got to be careful what you say around Gabe, because if you say sus, Among Us, imposter,
Mm,
he starts breathing a little heavily.
yeah. So
And okay, go ahead.
something with I was gonna continue on ancient civilization. Did you have anything, Joe?
I was just gonna start talking about how Among Us has ruined human language, English language as a whole.
It has certainly screwed it up a little bit, but I feel like
I
it's
I
kind of returned to
I
normalcy.
genuinely said like the phrase Among Us in actual conversation, as in among and then us instead of the title of the video game.
Yeah,
And you can't even do that anymore.
yeah.
You can't even use like proper language in a sentence anymore, or like man children are just gonna start going sus Among Us.
Every time I get to something like imposter or Among Us or suspicious or something like that, it's either Bryce, Gabe, Jules. They just go
Who's
Among Us.
Among
Amonger?
like, and the thing is that like I played the game, I enjoyed it, and then we stopped. We enjoyed it. It's the joke's over, guys. I think.
I don't think
The
it's
joke
ever
is
gonna be
never
over.
over.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever gonna be gone.
Ugh. Speaking of Among Us VR is gonna be a thing soon.
Oh,
Yep.
cool. So ancient.
Yeah, ancient civilization.
um,
So, do you think they
Oh
have
boy.
Among Us in
Anyways.
ancient Mesopotamia?
no,
Yes.
no, I don't think there was ever a red crewmate that was suspicious for being possibly venting an electrical.
Could
Uh,
you fucking
in
imagine if
ancient
like
Mesopotamia.
some mural just describes fucking Among Us? I want to see
It's like
someone
that.
Photoshop that and like make an entire like The Onion article over it.
It's like that meme. There was a meme on Reddit in like 2014 that was four squares with like,
I know exactly what
and
you're
it's
talking
like you
about.
don't understand this joke yet. It's from the future. And it was four colored squares and they had like the visors, and everyone's like Among Us. He knew. I don't think. I'm sure
He
that there are
knew.
like things that have been written on walls in the past that are coincidences.
You know, look like that.
Um,
But like someone's gonna like just post it on Reddit and say, "Look, guys, ancient Omoger."
Egypt knew. Look at him go.
Fucking King Tut playing Amogus with his friend.
And sus.
He was sus, so he had to be killed. And that's why King
If we
took
had any
him.
viewers at the beginning of the podcast, they're gone now.
Yeah, we kind of slowed
With
down a
one
little
fell
bit.
swoop, we mentioned Among Us, and then they're gone. Anyway, back to the topic. Is there anything else with ancient
I
civilizations that
know
we want to talk about?
the Yellow River one was the Chinese one. That was probably the most deadly one you could live at, solely being how pneumatic everything was. Pneumatic? Is that the
That's
pneumatic
a
tribes?
big word.
Gabe,
Wait,
am I correct
okay,
with
hold
that?
up.
Pneumatic tribes?
Pneumatic or
No,
nomadic?
nomadic.
Nomadic. I was thinking of pneumatic, which
Jesus.
is
I
a.
There,
thought you were saying pneumatic, and I'm like, are you talking about like the water, like being like really swift and dangerous, or are you talking about the people living by it?
The nomadic tribes was a big problem in the Yellow River civilization. Not only that, but also the river tended to flood very easily.
Like a lot.
So people
the
would just.
Yangtze River.
The Yellow River,
Bleh.
yes.
Yes.
It is a massive river and was home to one of the earliest civilizations. I want to look this up. Which civilizations, which river civilizations were first? So I want a ranking on which ones came first.
Gabe, please.
Mesopotamia was the first, and any that developed around the river of that.
Fuck's sake. Do. Give me years, please. Ancient Egypt. What?
Water from the
This is
Nile.
not it. Hang on. What years did the river civilizations exist?
Oh, Indus Valley.
Yes, Indus Valley seems to be. Which was India, Afghanistan, India, that whole area,
Yeah.
Pakistan. Oh, it was Pakistani more so than India. Mesopotamia was 4000 BCE. Indus. Actually, the Indus Valley civilization is unknown. They don't know when they started. So
Cool.
it goes Indus Valley, Mesopotamia, Egypt, and then Yellow River. Actually, no. The Yellow River civilization was 9,500 BCE. Jesus.
Oh God.
Yes.
So
Very far.
that was 4,500 years before ancient Egypt.
Holy cow.
I don't know anything about this.
Finally, you're as dumb as the rest of us in
Wait,
this regard, Chris.
before Christ. That means they're counting down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 9,500 was still a lot before Egypt.
9,500 years before Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A major
Many.
so they united into a single kingdom around 1700 BC. So like Egypt, they formed a kingdom early on. Like they formed their kingdom pretty early in their history, but it took China like 8,000 years to form a kingdom. Only for it to
Not real
therefore
big.
collapse like 8 times.
Yeah, China did kind of has a history of trouble of staying together.
They would give too much power to one faction, and then that faction would be like, ooh, I have control.
Ooh,
And then
tyranny.
they would lose that control because they die.
Because they went tyrannical.
Mm.
And then China would split, then they would be unified, and then it broke again.
It's because China couldn't figure out how to exist after someone died. It's like their big old
For some
emperor
reason.
dies, and then it's like, oh, welp, what do we do now?
Guess we'll die. Like, oh no, the bloodline's gone. Just put another person in. No, the bloodline has been severed. Whatever will we do?
Just put a new
Yeah, there's a
person
big
in.
obsession with bloodlines in ancient
It,
times.
yeah,
That
not just China. That's like a
And in
world.
modern Japan.
bloodline goes all the way up
I
until, the Victorian era. Like,
yeah,
the idea of
honestly.
blood and just family and such, keeping the bloodline pure, as the royals put it. Even though they were the Habsburgs, and there were a few extra chromosomes floating around in that bloodline.
A few.
You'd be lucky to have 2, much less 23.
Sneeze all the doctor just. I feel like God had like everyone set up like as children before they're sent down to the earth. And he accidentally sneezed on a few of them, and their brain got all wonky. He
And they
accidentally
all
dropped them.
went to the Habsburgs.
They all went right down into the world. He's like, no.
Oh, dang.
Well, shit.
Oh, well, that's only a couple percent. Oh, they grew like bacteria.
Shit, they're royals now.
How did this happen?
How?
In the concept of religion, does God recognize royalty?
Yeah, the idea
No.
of royalty is that
Wait,
they
It's
were
a
yeah.
religious
God
thing,
given.
actually. Wait, no, yeah.
Like the Pope.
Royalty is
The Pope was the one that
supposedly a
crowned all the
God-given thing.
kings and queens and such.
The
Ancient
Pope.
times are kind of fucked up.
No,
Yes, they were
someone.
quite fucked up. This is the
So,
time
Gabe,
where, on
what is your
average, you could walk outside, see 3 people die, see a family of, 16 starving, see a child beg for mercy, and then watch someone in gold, you know, gold fabric walk by throwing, coins all around and be like, haha, nerds, and then walk into their castle.
Well, that is like Mexico guy.
I
So,
agree.
Gabe, what's your argument in defense? Because I think you wanted to say something.
They didn't have internal combustion engines.
No,
That's
they
what
didn't.
I feel like it's like I was that the reason why, all these great blights of man were caused by God. It's like God
Yes.
flooded the Nile and caused that whole
Because we didn't have
It's like you should have
like a
combustion
cool
engines by
Maserati.
now. Again, and then you'd restart humanity.
Jesus Christ! So God is just
The
really into
Black
cars.
Plague is like you still don't have you don't have a Bugatti yet. Start again.
Bring me challenger or receive challenge.
Ugh.
God. So anyway,
Do we have any extra bits about ancient civilization?
not really. The only thing I was gonna talk about, just sort of in passing, is like ancient style war
Was wacky.
and sort of ancient. Yeah, it was kind of wacky. Not because they didn't have guns, but because they basically would use anything they could get. And that is the time where numbers basically completely dominated the field.
That I feel like that would moreover go into medieval, because in ancient it was mainly the war. War in ancient civilization was just war between your own nation. So it's kind of like revolution, because the civilizations were so far apart, they barely saw each other.
Oh
They
yeah, they
barely knew
barely
each other
interacted.
existed. Like there was a solid
Medieval and
couple thousand
Victorian
years
era.
where like these civilizations thought they were the only ones on the planet.
Fucking off topic for now, but Christopher Columbus going and finding the Caribbean and calling it India is still very funny to me. And he died not knowing that he was wrong.
Yeah, that's why I don't. And it's just a personal what is it called, stipulations, like pet peeves of mine is whenever someone calls them Indians. I don't know why it annoys me so much. They're not Indians. Native
Because they
Americans
were
are
here
not Indians.
first.
Native
They deserve
Americans
the
are
right to
not
be
Indians.
called. They deserve the right to be called the Americans that were here first. The
Indians,
native ones.
that's the
We are
one
the
across the
intruders.
ocean over in Asia. Those are Indians.
You know, the
These
ones
are
that
not
call you and
Indians.
tell you that your Windows computer has virus.
Bro.
That that might be a little offensive, but that's my main experience with.
Okay. India's an interesting place. And their culture is just it isn't very well known anything about India other than their religions. India is such a massive fucking country, and the cultures there are hundreds of cultures, and there are dozens of languages that are recognized and spoke in India. and no one knows a thing about this. I don't know a thing about India, other
Well,
than
it's
British kind of messed them up for a while.
And still are. They were fine prior to
yeah.
the 17th century.
If I remember correctly, this may be me just not knowing things again, but I remember like the UK or not the UK, England tried to get really into the spice trade or something like that, and then
Mm.
proceeded to use absolutely none of it for their food.
Yeah, they were. Well, the UK dominated the globe for a while. They were in every single continent except for Antarctica. Uh, well, even today, like today, if you count everything in the past, the UK has had a foothold and colonialization in every single continent on the planet. All seven.
Yeah, they
It's like France can't
had
say
an
that.
empire.
Not even France can say
France
that,
can't
and
say a
they
lot of
were
things,
pretty
okay?
close. No, France was the second biggest, colonial power at the time. Next, Spain was up there because they owned pretty much all of the Americas.
Right. They owned more of the Americas than the UK ever did, I think.
Well, Canada is one of the biggest countries in the
Oh,
world, and they owned all of
yeah.
Canada.
But Canada speaks like French and English too, so there's my bit.
They were British colonies.
So anyway, uh
I just want to look up uh, what were the top colonial powers, but yeah, India was an interesting place, and
India I
that's
think still is an interesting
it
place. It's
is.
just not like well known because here in America, like me, who just made that joke, that's how we perceive them a
Never
lot of
mind
the
that they
time.
are the second biggest by populace, and
They're
our
probably the most dense.
Has the most population, and I think India is
Okay.
second country by population. Yes, it is. China with 1.4 billion, sorry, and then India with 1.3 billion. And the number 3 is the United States with 331,000.
Wow.
So just in India, you could fit 3 United States populations inside of India, and you would still
Jeez.
have 400,000 people left.
Oh my gosh. Imagine if like the entire United States just decided to pack itself into the density of like China, the same kind of density.
Mm.
Probably fit the entire world. I don't know.
I don't know person per kilometer squared. China's 153. The United States is 36.
Whoa.
India's 464.
Oh my gosh.
But then you look at
And
a
keep in
country
mind,
like Bangladesh, which has 164,000 people, but they're a small country, so 1,265 people per square kilometer.
Oh my gosh.
keep in mind a square kilometer is about zero point 0.6 of a mile by zero point 0.6 of a mile.
Hong
Thank you,
Kong
Gabe.
is 7,000 per square kilometer.
Oh my
Singapore is
gosh.
8,358 per square kilometer.
I wonder what the housing prices, just as like a general rule, are in all of these places. Because I know,
No.
yeah, no, if we think it's bad
Macau.
here,
Macau's 21,645 per square kilometer.
21,000 people per square kilometer. Holy shit.
Monaco is 26,000 per square kilometer. And only has a land area of 1 kilometer squared.
I mean, they really do be packing people in. Their population is their density.
countries are weird, man, and population's only ever gonna go up. And for a country like the United States, we have a lot of room.
Yes, we still have plenty of room.
Farmland.
A lot of it is farmland, and it's only ever gonna keep expanding. But I always like to think, what will it be like when the entirety of the United States is just one big fucking city? If it ever goes to that, I don't know. There's a lot of land
Can't
out
even
here.
imagine. That reminds me of like just sort of like post-apocalyptic sort of media and stuff
Mm,
like that, especially futuristic stuff, where basically everywhere is a city. You cannot escape the industrialization.
yeah,
It will eventually come to you, but
it's just gonna keep expanding like cancer.
that is a very good comparison, and I agree with that.
And keep expanding like mold on a pork chop that I've left outside.
Yeah.
Tasty.
There's a less than good analogy to balance out that one.
Let's not even get started on like protect Earth and stuff like that. I don't know. It's a
Uh,
whole can of worms that I don't really want to open right now.
Electric vehicles are useless.
Future, well, as of right now, sure.
You don't
But
know what
like,
uses the most amount of gas? Shipping freights.
Hmm.
Why
But
did we start at the consumer level where we use
the
little
the reason
in
for that
comparison?
is just lowering emissions. Is just starting to lower it, not just necessarily like you can't delete emissions. No one's saying that. But
but
even
you
if
can
you
try to
even
lower it and then counteract what you do produce.
yeah, even if you get rid of fueled cars, you're still gonna have to make that electricity anyway. And unless we
Right.
become 100% reliable on renewable resources, that we're not reducing emissions by that. We're reducing waste emissions because how much does a car just sit around and waste gas? Because in city you lose you lose gallons per mile. Like you lose whole gallons of fuel just sitting around. So it's like
Right, because of traffic.
electric cars won't be 100% fuel free until we completely make renewable resources.
Until we can make our own sun
Yeah, and
to supply energy.
not even
Wind,
nuclear
solar.
power is going to be 100% gas free unless we have the ships that transfer that nuclear fuel also nuclear powered.
Right. Plus, there's figuring out what to do with the highly radioactive waste that
There
comes
was
from it, which isn't produced as much as manageable waste, but it's still a problem because the only solution we have right now is burying it like really far underground.
Finland had just recently was one of Finland recently built the first nuclear power plant in decades in Europe, and they had pretty much they I saw an article that said that they had solved that issue, but I didn't actually dive into it. So it's being looked at. Finland might have solved the issue. Finland, I feel like, is like the test and trial location of all this cool stuff, and we don't get it unless we pay premium.
Mm,
Because
All this other
like
cool stuff, like
some
30
the
years before we get it.
the best education, the
right.
most happy people, the best healthcare, the best
Hey
pretty much
guys, you want to move
everything
to
is in Finland.
Finland?
No, because I don't speak Finnish.
Want to
Yeah,
learn?
Finnish is easy to speak. All you have to do is get drunk and just start talking in Nordic runes.
Start
Horgan,
talking in
Dorgan, Forgan,
tongues.
Dorgan.
Granted, you're right
Fuck
next to
this.
Russia, and that might be a.
Something, Leif Erikson, I don't know.
Which reminds me,
It's Leif Erikson Day. Hinger dinger duncan.
when when Finland was threatened by Russia, because Finland was like, "We're gonna join NATO now because we don't like you doing that to Ukraine," and Russia's like, "If you join NATO, we're gonna declare on you," and that made Finland speed up their action to get into NATO. They're like, "Try me. We did
Hey,
this
dude, you
before.
know
You
they
failed.
really
Try again."
this is like Listen, I don't think it's working out. I think I'm gonna go join NATO because I'm genuinely terrified of you. And then he just like doubles down saying, if you join NATO, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And I'm just like, you see, this is the problem.
Finland's like,
I'm
oh,
I'm
but
gonna
there's a lot
go.
of processes, there's a lot of paperwork involved, we're gonna have to get in NATO about a year or two. Russia flipped their shit, and they're like, all right, I'm signing it today.
It's just like, okay, I see that there's some issues here. How about we solve this? I'm gonna go sign it today, and we're never gonna see each other again. And also, I'm getting a restraining order.
Russia's
Or
an interesting country.
Macedonia.
Estonia?
Macedonia.
Oh, I'm like, yes, Estonia is indeed probably gonna all the small three Baltic states, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia. Those.
According to my
When's the last time
research,
anybody heard of Sweden?
PewDiePie.
Does
Meet
that really count?
Paul IKEA.
Yep, there you go. That's all. That's all Sweden is known for.
That's all Sweden is known for. Not like well, that's Switzerland. Never mind. So yeah, Sweden. Sweden isn't really doing a whole lot these days, are they?
It's like the Austro-Hungarian Empire. What did they do?
Nothing. They
Like
did nothing.
every single country that me and Gabe had an entire day in tech
Like of
talking about
note, of
this.
course.
What did Austria-Hungary do other than start the First World War? They weren't even a colonial
Uh,
power. You can name anything and I'll disprove it.
yeah, I got nothing.
We even looked this up and we couldn't find anything.
Austro-Hungary made no technological advancements, no societal advancements, no wars.
They
They didn't. I
purely
don't think
existed.
were they a part of World War One,
They
or did they
caused World War
dissolve
One.
before that?
They caused World War One.
Ah, you're right.
It was a mix of Austria, Hungary, and then the.
So they participated in World War One. That's all.
When we looked it up, what did Austria-Hungary do? The only thing we could see was starting World War One. Imagine a country, an empire, multi-ethnical empire made up of thousands of different types of people, millions of individuals, an army the size of, Germany's, and the only
And
thing
the
they're
only thing
remembered
you're known
for
for.
is causing one of the biggest disasters for human civilization.
I mean,
World War One.
at least they won't be forgotten. That's all I have to say.
I forget about Austro-Hungary on a daily basis. I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you even remember what Austria-Hungary looked like?
Wasn't it a
looked
square? It's Wyoming.
No, it was not.
It was no, it was not a square. It was just a weird, like oblong shape.
It was very
Kentucky.
strange. It was bigger than Germany was at the time.
Why did they lose? Why did
They were
Austro-Hungary
complete
suck
garbage.
if they had the land advantage?
They were complete. You don't win because of the land advantage, Gabe. I think Russia's proving that right now in this Ukraine war. You don't win because of land advantage. Germany lost, World War II after it had literally all of mainland Europe under its control. All of it. All the way from
Bruh.
Portugal all the way up until Finland. That entire area was controlled by Germany. And they still lost the Second World War. Name a country in Europe and it was occupied or controlled by Germany.
At one point.
Yes. It's crazy how massive Germany got in that war.
And then
Just
fell and ate
bleh.
shit, but they tripped and ate shit. But
They turned around and thought they could leave Italy and Japan guarding them from the
and
UK and the US. And then they turned around and they were just
oh
beat
my
up.
gosh. Fucking
Oh.
Japan bombing Pearl Harbor and then having to tell Germany. And they're like, you what?
You fucking... What?
and then just from across the Atlantic, you just hear, "Good
Where did you come
morning,
from? Where did you
USA."
go?
Bum
You just hear the
bum
national
bum
anthem in the
bum
form.
bum 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 bum.
You just hear the national anthem in the form of over 1 million U.S. troops
They're just,
coming to join
you know,
the
that
Allies.
that scene from Pirates of the Caribbean where they're walking underwater. They're just
Oh, with
coming
the
out of the
boat.
water on the
Oh no, the
shores
other one.
of Japan, and they're all just just walking out of the water. Just a bunch of American troops.
Whose fucking
Where'd they come
Jaws
from?
music starts playing.
Japan.
Japan had some weird ideas and tactics for the world wars, such as
Speaking of weird Japan things, hold on, let me find something real quick. This was issued to the Japanese military in World War II.
Uh-oh. We'll get into the World Wars
translated.
topic later. I do have that
Where is it?
as
Where
a
is it?
prompt. I have all of the eras as a prompt. So we can
Okay.
get into that into detail about that stuff
Well,
later.
here's a sneak peek, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well,
That's
it's
a
like
bad
just
one.
crazy how the world works, you know?
Yeah, World War II Japan was an interesting country.
Oh, not even World War II. 1953. What did Japan decide was a good thing to give a bunch of soldiers? Oh god, this image is so big. Why?
1953. So this is Cold War. By now, the
Very
Cold
This
much.
War
was
is in full effect.
this was official issue.
Yeah,
Oh,
It was a
because
sword.
Japan.
it was just,
Yeah,
well, they had that pretty much throughout their entire imperial time as Japan.
yeah.
Imperial
Type
Japan.
95 Shingunto. They
It was
they
regulation.
reject modernity, embrace tradition,
Well, they still
wield a
used
sword.
guns, but they also had a sword because of tradition.
It was mainly,
Why?
I believe mainly officers used it. Because what else is
It
Yeah.
an
was used by
officer gonna do?
NCOs, non-commissioned officers.
Yeah,
Listen here, bullets
Oh,
are
why?
expensive.
bullets are expensive.
Bullets are expensive. God, swords have unlimited ammo. Just stab them.
I'm glad we got the.
Like, and you got to think about it. It's just like, oh yeah, Japan like rejects modernity. You know, samurais were using guns when they came out. Don't even fucking think
And
for a
hey,
second they weren't jumping on that shit.
the new crate
I
just
can't.
dropped.
I don't want to get shot
New,
up by a guy in a metal dragon costume.
New drip. God just dropped this, merch.
Ayo, new crate just dropped. Gunpowder's a thing now. New update.
Gunpowder update.
Everyone's gonna start spawning with guns now.
I actually
We got
found a recipe for gunpowder online.
All right,
the thing is, katanas like were like, oh yeah, katanas were like folded 10 million or whatever times. They were really good when swung in a specific way, but if hit any other way, snap.
yeah,
They were
they weren't.
extremely brittle
They weren't.
if you hit them right.
They weren't the best sword in the world, but they were
I
a
mean,
sword. They were a good. They
the,
were a good contender.
yeah, they had their own like technique
Mm,
and tradition and way of using their swords.
yeah.
And then there's the medieval period where they basically just stab people. There's no like art to it. You just stab people.
Yeah, war in medieval times, there was no art to war at that time. Like, even for people that were, hardline strategists, the only thing they could strategize was the amount of men and cannon they could amass.
Yeah, just sheer amount of force in a direction
Mm.
was their main strategy, and maybe some like flanking here and there. But other than that, there wasn't like a whole lot of big strategy. It was pretty much just, you see
Mm.
that castle? We're gonna tear it apart brick by brick.
I feel like all that strategy kind of started forming. Uh, I'd say around right when Well, even before the gun, they were using strategy. So I feel like in between the two, that started becoming a thing where people are like, hey, maybe we should, you know, correctly put this together. But even the Romans were using strategy. The Roman Empire, they put together their legions were. There are 4.
I just blanked out. Was that from my mic?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Sorry about that.
Even the Roman legions, they were using strategy. So I don't know why it just fell apart in the medieval times. Or it
I
was just
mean,
2
to be
walls of
fair,
people clashing into each other.
I blame the whole Deus Vult mentality of a lot of it because if you're protected by God, who needs strategy, right? If God ordains it, you're automatically won. So you're just taking what's yours.
And we
If you
are
want,
1 hour into the episode.
awesome,
So
good talk
are we gonna?
about
Yeah,
ancient.
we actually maintained that all the way through. So we are going to sign off. This is Gabe. Do you have any last bits on? We kind of started going into medieval stuff. Gabe,
Yeah, what up?
what are your last thoughts?
On.
Just what we've done, what we've talked about. So there are
You know?
none. Okay.
No.
Thank you. Very concise. Very concise.
All right. So this has been
I've
3 men in a
been
trench coat.
committing crimes.
We are with
3 men in a trench
yes.
coat
Gabe
going to
will be
buy
committing crimes with pineapples.
Say.
alcohol. I'll
What?
take your.
No, I'm learning how to make a pipe bomb.
Oh, okay.
Okay. You know, if you do that, it used to be where if you did that, yeah, it would put you on a watch list.
Yeah.
But nowadays, because Call of Duty exists, they can't really just start putting people on watch lists for what they say anymore.
Call of Duty. The
If
Call
they
of
can
Duty
afford to
voice
build a
chat
four
was
thousand
really
dollar
bad.
fursuit, they can afford to mail me a $5 pipe bomb.
All right, well, I think we'll wrap it up for now.
Interesting.
This has been
Alright, groovy.
This has been 3 men in a trench coat.
I'm in your walls.
Goodbye.